From Toronto, Canada, it's the Up and Adam Show. I'm Stu Jeffers, and now, here's your host, Adam Lucas.
Started doing like little private parties, on the weekends and stuff like that. And it was something, like I said, I just really enjoyed. And
it's inspiring to hear that,
Yeah, well, fast forward now, a year into this performing music, I now have 2 regular gigs. I'm delivering pizza less days, right? But still holding on because it's a good gig to have. It's all cash and the food, like I said. So I'm a freshman in college, and my Uncle Joe leaves me a message, and he says, American Idol is coming to New York in a couple of weeks. It might be something you want to think about. Now, my Uncle Joe is Sicilian. And Sicilians, when they say, might be something you want to think about, they mean you're going to go do it. I got you this gig. I helped you out. Now you're going to go do this for me. Yeah. So I call him up, and I because the way he left the message, I said, what do you think? You got to strong arm me into doing this? He goes, hey, take it easy. I'll tell you what, I'll make you a bet. He just got a brand new Range Rover. I was obsessed with this thing. The air suspension went up and down like that.
Oh, the hydraulic?
No, not like hydraulic, air ride for off-roading and stuff like that. Like the new you see Ludacris with the new Maybach truck, and he's doing this, and he's going, the truck's bouncing up and down. It's like that, but a lot slower. And anyway, I wanted to drive this car around. It was summertime, and he goes, I'll give you my truck for the rest of the summer if you go there and audition and they don't absolutely love you. And I said, that's easy. So I went early. I was like the second person online, right? I went up there, and I guess I kind of was hoping that they wouldn't put me on the show. Number one, I didn't want to be there. I was surrounded by people, who I thought were really talented. I was surrounded by people who were playing guitar, and people who had written original music, and R&B singers like better than Faith Hill or Aaliyah. And I was like, what am I doing here? And I was so confident that I wasn't going to get on the show that I went and I picked a song called Cry Me a River, not the Justin Timberlake version. If you have the chance, it's Julie London's Cry Me a River.
Okay.
And I went and I sang, or was it Judy Garland? I don't know. I think they both sang Cry Me a River at the time. But anyway.
Judy Garland's amazing, though. She's good.
Oh, my God. She does an amazing version of that song. It's incredible. But Liza Minnelli's mother, that's where she gets the talent from. Yeah. But, I went, and I was so confident that I wasn't going to get on the show that they put me on the show. They were like, wow, this guy doesn't care. I was like, yeah, I don't. Can you please send me home? It was like that movie Ted, that Seth MacFarlane movie. By the way, another great singer, Seth MacFarlane.
Yeah. He's interesting. But the scene when Ted's
he goes into the boss's office, and he tells him off, and the boss goes, that's what I need here. And he keeps him on the job. He's trying to get fired. He's cursing out the boss. And the boss is like, that's the kind of attitude I want working.
I was going to say the line, but I thought it'd be a little too much. I don't know. It's pretty
funny. It's a little too much. My fans are a little sensitive. I love you guys. But anyway, so they put me on the show. I'm up there with Jennifer Lopez and Harry Connick Jr. and Adam Lambert was guest judging. Yeah. And I went my whole family and everything, and went up there in my suit, because now I'm like, oh my God, maybe there's still hope I can get this Range Rover. Maybe if I wear a suit, it's American Idol. It's a popularity contest. They're looking for people in, skinny jeans with glasses with no glass in them. I'm going to go there looking like I do. And so my uncle goes, do what you got to do. I went there. Harry Connick Jr. made me a bet that I didn't know the real name of Fly Me to the Moon, which is In Other Words. That's the name it is in the show that it's derived from. And, I won the bet and everything. And there was this whole, they showcased it when the episode aired. And all of a sudden, all over Long Island, especially in New York, people know who I am. You're the kid who sang Sinatra on American Idol. you want to bet with Harry Connick Jr. and all that. And I said, yeah, sure. And I really didn't think much of it. And when I came home, I went to Hollywood Week and I made it like halfway through, and then they had me sing this song by Train, and I'm like not really good with pop music. I really don't listen to it. When I listen to it a lot more now, but back then I really didn't take myself seriously, and that's probably the biggest takeaway from this is I didn't take myself seriously. And when I came home, I told my Uncle Joe, I said, that's it. Listen, that's enough for me. This was fun. I'm going to go back I was at St. John's University in New York City at the time. If you ever watched Coming to America, they go to a St. John's basketball game. That was my school. Yeah. And, I was like, I'm going to go back there and I'm just going to hit the books and study and get a degree. And then, maybe I'll revisit this. My Uncle Joe goes, you think this is the end? This is only the beginning. It's really important. I know there's going to be a lot of Italian, a lot of non-Italians watching this and listening to this. Really important is that you really listen to your elders in your family. Maybe not listen to, I know sometimes they say things that you don't agree with, and, you're getting into arguments, especially nowadays, everyone's back and forth. But more than that, really, really listen to what they got to say. Because I didn't believe my Uncle Joe. I really didn't. Mm-hmm. And, this is a guy I would call a few times a week. I would be commuting from Long Island to Queens. It was like 20 minutes at night. During rush hour, it's an hour and a half. So I'm on the phone with him, calling back and forth. And, about a month later, he's telling me he doesn't feel well. I said, you should go to a doctor. Finally, my family convinces him to go. And it was too late. He had a stomach ulcer that had got infected, and the infection shut down his organs, and he passed away. He's 45 years old.
Wait, are you serious?
And so, yeah. And that's by the way, my cousin who was here, my cousin Lewis is his son. Kid's like a brother to me, but he is my brother. What am I saying? He's like a brother. When we go around, we tell people. Anyway, he left such a mark on me that, listen, if you have the chops, which apparently I had, if you have the balls, which apparently I had, if you have the ambition, the drive to achieve something, like I did when I parked all those cars, that's what he said to me. He goes, listen, you could do that. If you could do that off of a plywood sign, imagine what you could do if you actually give it some thought. And that was what he left me with. And so, about a year later, I get a call from a casting producer from America's Got Talent. And she was like, hey, we want you to come and audition. We want to see what you got. We want you to, bring some family if you can. And Tommy was available. So, and what a character he was. I mean, he's like Tommy's like
the guy's a legend, man.
He's a legend. Yeah. I mean, if you look at his success since, it's just, we'll get to it, but it's just nuts. And so, they were like, come down, and the big thing was an American Idol. My Uncle Joe told me when I went to Hollywood, he goes, you're going to be steps away from Jennifer Lopez. If you don't say something to her, I'm going to start rumors about you in the neighborhood. And so I had that was another thing. I think it's still on YouTube or something. I made a pass at Jennifer Lopez. And so they called me up at America's Got Talent. They're like, why don't you come audition, bring that personality that we saw, bring that voice. By the way, we got a hot judge too. And so I went, I did it. And, I went out there with the same confidence, and I brought my Uncle Joe, my other Uncle Joe, and his wife, Netta, my Aunt Maria's sister, if you're following this story. They were, all best friends. They had a best friend named Cynthia, and she's like an aunt to me too. Yeah. And so she was there, and, I was like going back and forth with her, like, what do you think? Like, cause all the while I'm expecting her to say, if my Uncle Joe was here, he would say this, he would do this, he would,
yeah.
And we really, she knows as much as me, she's as lost as me without him. And so, I went and I went out there and I gave it my all and I turned it up to 11 and I brought the energy, and Heidi Klum hit the golden buzzer. It was like a whirlwind. It was like life affirming.
Yeah.
Imagine like, you're telling yourself your whole life that this isn't a practical career for you.
And then it
And
happened.
you finally take someone's advice after they pass away. Just if you just give it your all, if you try a little bit. I'd gotten vocal lessons and I went to see a trainer and everything, try to get in a little bit of shape before the show and everything, and really take it seriously. And that's what happened is once I took myself seriously, once I was able to do that, I was able to achieve that. Once I took my Uncle Joe's advice, I was able to turn that into something palatable, not only something palatable, but something that America loved. I made it to the top 5, a pizza delivery guy who was singing in restaurants in Long Island, just a normal guy, it was like I hit the lottery. It was an incredible thing. I made it to the top 5, one of the biggest talent competitions in the world. A talent competition that's birthed other talent competitions. Britain's Got Talent,
Yeah.
that brought us what's her name, Susan Boyle.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Italy's Got Talent, which brought us Il Volo, one of my favorite groups who I had the pleasure of meeting on America's Got Talent.
Oh, that's amazing.
I got to be a part of that, all because I really believed in myself.
Yeah.
Even now, 4.5, what are we, 5 years later? Oh my God, 5 years later. Even now, 5 years later, 5 years after I came off that show, I still kind of have to tell myself, especially this year, where this pandemic completely shut my business down, pulled the rug right out from under my feet. I had to tell myself, if you really believe in yourself, this will all go away. It'll end soon.
Yeah.
And I'm very lucky. I'm very blessed that I've been able to work, been able to be put in such a great position after the show, and was able to ride it out through this whole thing. Even though not having the one thing that I absolutely love more than anything in the world, live performing, not having that really, took a toll on me. But that same sentiment of believing in myself is what got me through. And so that's what you gotta hold on to, and really try to tap into, those strengths. I knew when I was putting cars in the driveway and telling people, like, I don't know, I would come up with stupid things like when they would say, this kid's charging $20, why are you charging 50? I said, I'm not ShopRite. You want a sale, go down the block. Stupid stuff like that, like stuff I learned in the street, hanging out with guys 3-4 times my age. Taking that and translating into putting it behind something that I really love to do, which is singing, and being able to kind of create a whole thing off of that, believing in yourself, capitalizing on your strengths. It gets you far in life, and that's no matter what you want to do. Whether you
do anything in life with that, with those values. Yeah.
Right. Whether you're doing a podcast or you're a ventriloquist or you're an accountant or a doctor or a nurse, all these different career paths. If you really want to be successful, if you want to reach the top of your field, you got to have that kind of recognition of the qualities that make you great.
Yeah.
And push that forward.
Of course, yeah. And listen, you said, first off, that was an amazing story, and it's inspiring because again, like going back to the beginning, how I said I see a lot of myself in you, because again, we both admire our Italian heritage, our values. We're two old souls, and one main thing that I really liked what you said was about knowing your worth and like capitalizing on your strengths. Because again, when you were doing America's Got Talent, right? The one thing I noticed about you, which really stood out, first off, again, your voice is amazing, but again, there's a lot of people can sing really good, but what you had is the charisma. Like a thing, like look at Frank Sinatra, for example, right? Why is Frank Sinatra, like, for example, I'll ask you a question. What is your favorite thing about Frank Sinatra? Tell me one thing.
Oh, swagger.
There you go. And it's
like more than, everyone go, oh, his voice is good. It wasn't the greatest. His swagger. His showmanship. He
carried, and that's the thing. Like you, for example, so again, a guy like him, you didn't even bring up his voice, because at the end of the day, man, It doesn't matter how good your voice is or how good
Yeah.
you are as a musician or any job career. But if you, it depends how you carry yourself, right?
Yeah.
Again, look, I'm not. I'll be honest with you. I'm still new to this too. I'm not the best talk show host. I'm learning, and I have a little bit of a stutter. Like, it's not, I'm not the best, but I can confidently say I carry myself well. I present myself well. I'm very comfortable around people. Like, I take pride in my strengths, like how you mentioned.
Well, the reason being is because you're engaging, you're entertaining, you're a good host, you know? All that kind of supersedes that. If you think about your stutter and you go into it like that, they're gonna notice your stutter.
Yeah.
My biggest thing was my weight growing up. I was always very, very self-conscious about my weight. I'm still very self-conscious about my weight. I have an eating problem, whatever. It's an Italian, this
Yeah,
is an
but hey,
Italian thing,
but Sal,
right?
you look good though. Honestly, I'm not even just saying that. You look really good.
Here's the thing. When I'm up on stage and I'm doing my thing and I'm dancing to the music and I'm telling stories about my mother and making people laugh and whatever, nobody recognizes how big I am but me. If you play to your strengths, if you push yourself, no one's going to recognize what you see as shortcomings. Frank Sinatra was a slight guy. He was picked on for being tiny.
Yep.
And so he developed this big, over the top persona. And really what's it called? Really boosted himself with that confidence and that personality.
Yeah.
Almost put him on a pedestal. One of his most famous shows is Sinatra at the Sands. And in the middle of the show, not even, was it Sinatra at the Sands or was it the main event? I don't know if it was main event. One of those shows. I think main event, he did something similar, if not the same thing. He did a tea break where he stopped for tea. They recorded it. They kept it in the live album. They called it the tea break. And it's 17 minutes of him bullshitting with the crowd and just being Frank Sinatra, being the guy, being the front of the room, and everyone kind of waiting on his every word.
Yep.
And more than Sinatra's music, because if you come to if whoever's out there, if you have the opportunity ever to come to a show of mine, you'll see that it's not like it's not like AGT where it's a quick thing and it's the Sinatra song and it's the how you doing and all that. It's a lot more than that. And the reason being is because when I would listen to Sinatra's live albums and hear the way he reacted with the crowd, the way he joked around with the band and everything, and you're thinking to yourself, boy, he's not really worried about the next song or the song before it. He's not really worried about his time on stage. Am I going to go over? Am I not doing enough? He's just getting up there
and doing his thing.
And doing his thing. He's having a drink, singing some music, and bullshitting with some people.
Yeah.
And I said, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. And of course, I put a big emphasis on the music because, like I said, since really getting involved with this music and performing it, I've fallen more and more deeply in love with it and have gone deeper and deeper and deeper into different songs and, what they mean. We go to, if you look at my album, Little Valentine, there's songs like I Love Being Here With You, which is a Peggy Lee song that a lot of people don't know about. And I wanted to put it on the record. There's a version of Lady is a Tramp that I don't think people have heard before. It's a guy named Buddy Greco recorded it originally. And so I really, I put an emphasis on the music, sure. But when I'm on stage, I kind of uninhibit myself. I let go of whatever the bullshit of the day is or the week or the month.
Yeah.
And I slip into this. I call it slipping into something a little more comfortable. When I put on my tuxedo and my shoes and my tie and this, and then I go up there with the microphone and everything, that is where I'm truly the most comfortable. That is where I can really be me. That's what I mean by this whole past year really crippled me and really, pushed me to the edge where I really didn't even have confidence in myself. I didn't feel like Sal. and go out like the same guy I was, a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
And part of it is because I didn't have that outlet, that stage outlet. And that's what I saw when I would watch Frank Sinatra do shows, was that just that he would just lay it all out there. And so that's what I try to do. That's where I take my inspiration from him from.
Yeah, and it's awesome. And even that album, Little Valentine, I listened to the whole thing and I love it. And a lot of your songs, which I like.
Thank you.
No problem, man. And I like what you do because the first off, Just a Gigolo, which is a David Lee Roth song, which I love. And you carry that song so well. That's one of my favorites that you did.
Thank you.
And even
did you notice so do you know who Van Halen, you know who Van Halen is, right?
Yeah. Rest in peace. Yeah.
So right, Eddie Van Halen just passed away.
Yeah.
David Lee Roth was the
he was a
singer
yeah,
in the band. And David Lee Roth grew up with Italians and everything, and loved Louis Prima. And so he recorded Just a Gigolo, I Ain't Got Nobody, the medley, right? And I wanted to do a Van Halen song on this record because I wanted to do something different. We did Beautiful Girls, and B, me and my best friend Steve, he's a cop. It's been a rough year for him too, and this was November of 2020, and I said, I really wanted to do it because me and him, we love Van Halen.
Yeah.
We actually almost capsized in his boat. We went to go see Van Halen at a theater called the Nikon Theater, the Jones Beach Theater, down in Jones Beach in Long Island. It's a theater that's right on the water, and you could take your boat into the bay behind it and hear whatever
awesome.
band
That's
is
so
on
cool,
stage.
yeah.
So one night we went to go see Van Halen. It was their last tour, David Lee Roth and Eddie Van Halen together. And we went and we got lost on the way home. We got spun around and we ended up in the inlet. We almost died and everything. And so Van Halen became super special to us. So I want to put Van Halen on. And then when I was going over it with Dave Damiani, the producer of the record, my dear friend, he goes, "Hey, how cool would it be if you did Just a Gigolo?" Because I also wanted a little Louis Prima, a little Louis Armstrong, and they both covered this song.
Yeah.
And we said sure. So we'll head it off with that. And then we got the arrangement, and the horns up front, that kind of slow, kind of intro into the song, into the music. How it's kind of one tempo, leading in, and then all of a sudden it switches up and it's big band and it's swing, and it kind of introduces you to the vibe of the record. When I first heard that arrangement, it was actually the day we were recording at East West Studios in Los Angeles, which is where Sinatra recorded My Way, and That's Life, Fly Me to the Moon, all that stuff.
Amazing. Yeah, it's awesome. So it probably put you in the mood, eh? Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was well. I'll tell you about that in a second. We're doing this in the middle of a pandemic now, so we want to do it, but we want to do it right.
Yeah.
I'm no dummy. I said I'm gonna do my best to quarantine. I'm gonna try to get there early, and we're gonna test, and everyone's gonna test, and everyone's gonna wear a mask. And we had to get the big room because even though the big room could fit I think a 60 or 70 piece orchestra, and even though we had half of that, I said we need enough room to put people 6 feet apart.
Yeah.
And so now you have all these horn players kind of in a big circle all around the room. And in walks in Glenn Morissette. Glenn Morissette did the arrangements for this record. A lot of them, did a good deal of them on this record. And I brought up Seth MacFarlane before. Glenn Morissette is one of the master arrangers for the show Family Guy, which Family Guy, if you've ever seen it, has a live band on every show. And in between each scene, the band plays a little da ba doo ba da ba doo da, or different, maybe da 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 da, like a little bit something like that.
With the horns and stuff, yeah.
All that music doesn't exist. It needs to be arranged for the band to play. Yeah. And so it needs to be put together, and parts need to be written for each instrument. And, it's over 40, 50 piece orchestra, I think, is used for that show. So, you're thinking about a big undertaking. And Glenn kind of came in and he's just a maestro. and the arrangements are great, and they played it down. We heard Just a Gigolo along with everything else. I said, oh boy, yeah, that's the first song on the record. We're definitely doing that up front. You know,
Yeah.
it was again so overwhelming to be able to do that, you know, which I love after not having done it for months at that point. You know, it felt good and everybody was just so happy. All the musicians were happy to be out of the house and playing, you know, in front of other
Yeah.
people. So it was a really, really great time. Great time. And like I said, the music was just it was all stuff that I wanted to do. Adam, I don't want to get like, you know, I don't want to get sappy, but
No, it's
there
but
was there was a point, you know, we came home in March of 2020. I was living in Los Angeles
Mhm.
and working on a record, working what would have been this record. And you know, the whole thing goes down. I had a terrible week, put it this way. I had done a show in Port St. Lucie, Florida, broke my ankle, was sent back to California to my, you know, California, the houses in the hills, they're all, you know, you got to walk up a bunch of stairs to get to them. Here I am on crutches. I'm already a spaz, as you could see. I broke my ankle.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm sitting up there with my foot up and trying to figure out the rest of the tunes that are going on this record. And all of a sudden you see on the news, it's coronavirus and everything. The whole world is shutting down. My father's calling me, my mother's calling me, my girlfriend's calling me. Everyone's saying, I got to get back. You got to come home. You know, this, I'm going, oh my God, I said, I'm never going to get this done. I had to pack everything up, go back to New York. Now I'm just stuck in the house and stuck in one place and not being able to, like I said, have that outlet, you
Yeah.
know? And I felt really like, I was like, okay, I'm going to do a record. Finally, like later in the year, I was like, whatever. What else am I going to do? This might be the last record I ever do. So let me put some music that I like on it. Let's have a good time. Let me do it right. Let me get a full 34-piece orchestra. Let
Yeah.
me get the one of the best arrangers in the business. Let me get the best musicians. Woody Woodruff was the engineer on the record, two-time Grammy award-winning engineer. You know, engineered for Sinatra, for Madonna, for a lot of big projects like that. And so
Yeah.
nice guy, and I got to know him. Like I'm like you, so you know we're very, like you said, old souls. So we get along with people really well. And
Yeah, we
this
do.
guy
Yeah.
Woody was taken by that, so he was able to do the record for me. And you know, after all was said and done, I had something that I was really genuinely proud of. I'm really, really, really proud of this thing. You could stream it everywhere, Amazon, iTunes, all that. Hard
Spotify
copies
everywhere. Yeah.
are still hard to come by. They keep selling out, and then there's the back order for more and more. And then, of course, the vinyls, same story. But, you know, just listen to it. Yeah, I'm proud of
It's
it.
an
You know,
amazing album. I loved it, and even the name Little Valentine. It has that old school feel, but with a modern twist. Again, with some
yeah.
of the some 80 again, like with Just a Gigolo songs like that, and even some newer
Mhm.
songs. It's like you got that variety in there. It makes it really cool. You know what I mean?
You know, like When I'm 64 by the Beatles. My mother loves the Beatles. My mother
Yeah.
was born in, you know, the year that the Beatles came to America, you know, for the first time, and we're on the Ed Sullivan show and everything. She loves the Beatles. So I put When I'm 64 on there, and a really great arrangement again by Glenn. Uh, you know, and even some of the more traditional music. You know, I Believe in You was one of my favorite Sinatra tunes, the way he did it with the big band. And so I put that on the record. Um, you know, Walking My Baby Back Home by Nat King Cole. I Can't Give You Anything But Love was a song written by a guy named Jimmy McHugh. And when I was out in Los Angeles hanging out with my pal Dave, I met this guy, had this really cool old Corvette. His name was Lee Newman. I go, what do you do for a living? He goes, I run my grandfather's catalog. And I go, your grandfather's catalog? And he starts showing me all the music his grandfather wrote. I Can't Give You Anything But Love is one of them, you know,
Wow.
On the Sunny Side of the Street was another one. And, you know, this guy wrote a ton of incredible music, a lot of classics. And so I said, I'm going to put one of your grandfather's songs on my record.
That's
So I Can't Give
amazing.
You Anything
Wow.
But Love made it. You know, of course, I had to put My Way. You know, if I thought this was going to be the last record I'd ever do, you know, at one point I said, I'm going to do My Way because I really, you know, I owe it to the fans who have been loyal since AGT, and all the new fans who watch that video and then reach out to me and say, that video inspired me, that
Yeah.
audition, this or that, I owe it to them to put My Way.
Yeah.
And then
My
of
way,
course,
my way is one of my favorite songs too.
there's a song on the record called Without Love. It's a song that most people might skip over because they never heard it before. And it's for good reason. It's an original song the music was written by a woman named Lisa Eves. And the words were written by a guy named R. Keith Scott. And when I met these people, R. Keith had lost his wife, and he wrote a song to kind of personify the emotions that comes with losing the love of your life. And in a lot of ways, in 2020, there was a lot of people who lost people that meant a lot to them.
Yeah, it's true.
And I personally witnessed that. I was so feeling robbed of the opportunity to perform for people and to bring joy to people. Almost at one point, especially in New York, where we were hit very, very hard by the pandemic. We had a lot of people who really, there was no bringing joy to their lives. They were so, distraught, especially our nurses, our frontline workers in New York had seen so much. And so, I with some of my friends who had suggested the idea, went down to some of the hospitals. We set up, my pianist Jason Reese was kind enough to donate his time, and these guys, the Murrays, good Irish guys, they put together their trucks and they donated sound equipment and everything, and we'd go hospital to hospital singing for all the frontline workers and everything, and just kind of breaking up their day with something a little positive. And so after seeing all that, I said, I want to do a song that speaks to the people who've lost somebody. And the song Without Love, there's a line in it that says, without love, I retreated with this heart no one needed. Though sometimes I pretended that my heart could be mended. What good would that do without love?
Aw.
In other words, you could fix a broken heart, but then what good is it if the person you love
It's
is
even
not there on
so
the
you
other
can't even
side
give
of
the
it?
love. Yeah.
And so I recorded this beautiful song Without Love, again arranged by Glenn Morissette with some really incredible strings players from Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And it's another song I'm really proud of. So if you, again, shameless plug, if you have a streaming service, if you have Alexa, and I won't say her name out loud because I'll trigger her, in your home, you tell her to play this, and she'll play it for you. And that's how you could hear it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And I think I've said it all.
Yeah, you literally did. But and it's funny, we're actually just gonna wrap up. But before we wrap up, actually, I want to get to some of these records. Again, it sucks I don't have yours. I don't have any of your records here. I was trying to buy some, but they're all the vinyl.
Let's talk music.
Yeah, but I wanted to, what I usually do before I end off the show is I literally play like 10, 15 seconds of a song of your choice of the records I have. And
let's go over them.
Yeah, let's see. So I got Frank Sinatra, like I mentioned. It's the best of. Okay. Yeah, Ultimate Sinatra. It's got some good ones. Okay, I want to see if you like my music taste. Okay, I got I got a lot more, but this is Earth, Wind, and Fire, of course. This
Ooh,
the best
do you remember the 21st of September?
Okay, well, quick question before I go on.
I love disco, by the way.
So do I. Do you like more?
So I got a 2010 Cadillac DTS, got 111,000 miles on. I won't get rid of it, no matter what my friends say about it, or my girlfriend or anybody. I'm going to keep that thing on the road for the rest of my life. It still smells like garlic nuts. It's great. I'll never get rid of it. So I got the block rocker in it with the big box in the trunk. And when the guy was putting the subwoofer in the car, he goes, "What do you need this subwoofer for? You like this old school?" I said, "I want to listen to disco. Like, I want the freestyle. I want to be bumping the block. Yeah. I'm a 25-year-old kid. I want to listen to some rap too. I want to listen to Migos and Juice World and all that." He's like, "Who?" I said, "Exactly. Just put the sub in and call it a day."
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, but what was I gonna say for Earth, Wind, and Fire? There's the two singers. So you have Philip Bailey, and then who's the other guy? The original guy. I forgot his name. I want to know who's your
Oh,
favorite.
from Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Yeah, there's Philip Bailey now. Oh, Maurice White. He was the
Maurice. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
original singer, but then Philip Bailey, he was also in the band, but then he took over as the lead. But I had to see, even though Maurice White's like the iconic voice, I like Philip Bailey more as a singer.
Well, Maurice and his brother. What was his name? His brother played bass. Maurice played drums.
I forgot the name too. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, listen, you're talking about Earth, Wind, and Fire. That's a band. I mean, they made house. If you think about what disco is, disco predates house music. So, like the music we'll listen to in a club, that's like that's disco. What listen, when you talk about a club in Europe, they call it a disco because disco was the music that started the club. And so, if you think about it, they didn't have DJs, right? They had bands, and you would go to these. I'm not from the '70s, but you'd go to these clubs, and still, like people go, "Oh, live music. That's like a Sinatra era type thing." And it's like, no, it's not just a Sinatra era type thing, because you go to the '70s, and you talk about the music that even rap was built on was made with live instruments like Earth, Wind, and Fire. you know, uh, incredible band. So many different moving parts.
Yeah, Earth, Wind, and Fire is amazing, man. And then speaking of bands too, I also got Queen.
I'm trying. Yeah. Oh my goodness, Freddie Mercury, one of the greatest voices of all time.
Oh yeah.
He was an opera singer. He was a classically trained opera singer, and he even so much as towards the end of his life did a whole series of records with a Spanish female opera singer. I forgot her name, but
I didn't know about that. That's interesting.
He sang opera and really, really, really well. He had a hauntingly good voice.
I wonder why they never talk about it much. They never showcased it.
My God. I hope when people listen, like when I listen to Bohemian Rhapsody, I hear the composure of it.
Yeah.
And I hear the way all the different parts are put together and the rhythmic changes and the whole song is evolving. It's like an overture. It's like it's almost like a Broadway type performance.
Well, and night at the opera. Yeah, it literally feels like you're at the opera. Yeah.
And you listen to Freddie Mercury's range in that song, where he starts low and he gets so high, like his voice goes so incredibly high. You're like, what? His range. And if you sat down at a piano and you tried to play all the notes in Freddie Mercury's range, your arms wouldn't reach. That's just the simple fact of it.
He had that mouth that people used to make fun of him for. Again, something we talked about earlier about someone's weakness may be like people may look at it as like I don't know how to explain it, but like people may think they have a weakness, but it's actually their strength. Like again, he had an ugly looking mouth. It was very like teeth were really out, but that helped him. That helped his voice. That really propelled him to sing.
Yeah, they said because he had an issue with his palate, and so that's why his teeth were all messed up. And they said, well, if you want to fix your teeth, we have to fix your palate. If we fix your palate, your voice is going to sound different because your resonance when you're
did that, you know what I mean?
When you sing. It's not necessarily, the volume you sing and the clarity in the note you're singing is not necessarily coming from your lungs and the power in your voice. It oftentimes comes from something called resonance, which is, you while you're singing a note, your tongue and the roof of your mouth, you control the volume of the note with that space. If you think about it, when you're in a tunnel and you make a noise, the noise resonates throughout the tunnel. You can hear it. It amplifies that sound.
Yeah.
It's because the sound is traveling in a controlled size of a space. Like a cathedral is another place. If you talk on one end of it, you could hear somebody on the other end.
Side. Yeah.
Right. So resonance is important. Freddie Mercury didn't want to lose that resonance in his voice from the shape of his mouth.
Yeah.
He
essentially didn't sell out. That's a good story too. And even this one, Electric Light Orchestra, ELO.
Oh, ELO.
Amazing.
You got the classics.
I told you, man.
Wow.
I told you, man. I'm exactly like you in that way, the old school stuff, man. Then
Mr. Blue Sky.
look at this one, bro. I got Santana.
Oh,
This
oh,
is
come
amazing.
on.
This one's got a good one. This one's got which one?
Soul Sacrifice. Ever Soul Sacrifice? Yeah.
So no.
No.
They have
What do we-
Smooth. They have Smooth with Rob Thomas.
Ooh.
That's a great
Ooh.
one, man. And then
Yeah.
this one has to be one of my favorites too. Michael Jackson. Thriller.
Oh, come on. Thriller is one of the best records ever made.
And this is like, look, you can actually tell. Like,
How many hits? Let's count. Turn it over. Let's count the hits.
Yeah.
The hits on this record alone.
I don't know. It's to me hard reading that kind of. Wait, see if you can read that.
Let's see. Read them out loud. I'll tell you. I'll say hit or not.
Okay. Wanna be starting something.
Hit. It's a hit, right?
Yeah. Baby Be Mine.
Good
Good
song.
Good song,
Not
but
quite
not
the commercial success of. Go ahead.
The Girl Is Mine.
Okay. Another great one.
Thriller.
Hit. The video became one of the most popular music videos of all time.
Oh,
it
iconic.
still is.
Yeah, and the little shoulder dance moves.
The whole thing.
Oh,
it's such a big thing.
I love it, man. That you got Beat It with our
Hit.
Van Halen. Come
Hit. Even the parody of that song by Weird Al Yankovic was a hit.
What? Which one's that?
Eat It.
No, I didn't even hear that one. The parody?
Yes, there's a parody of it. Even that's a hit.
I gotta check that out after. I didn't even know about that. But
Just if you think the magnitude of one record, how could one record be so influential, in someone's career? It's a hit song after hit song after hit song.
yeah.
What a machine Michael Jackson was.
He's a king.
Another
man,
great voice.
Billie
Another
Jean,
great voice.
Billie Jean.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Human Nature.
hit,
PYT.
hit,
The Lady in My Life.
hit.
Boom. There you go. So you got some good. I don't know, man. You got some good options here. I don't know which one should we end off with today for like 15 seconds.
Oh boy. Okay. I think Earth, Wind, and Fire, September is a good one.
Let's do it.
That's like you go to any Italian wedding. That's like at the end of the night, It's either like
a New Year's Eve party.
it's either L'Italiano for the fourth time,
yeah,
or Sweet Caroline.
or knock 3 times on the sea.
Yeah, come on. It's
Take a look. They're amazing. I'm gonna play this. Cool. And also before we end off, I wanted to give a quick plug to Hardcore Italians. You know Hardcore Italians, right?
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm one of the affiliates of them. And after the show,
Love Mike.
Mike's amazing. Great guy.
We just missed them. Typically, Mike and Marissa and John and I, when they're down in Florida, because that's where we I'm not out in Chicago so much. And so, when they're down here, we'll get together, and we just missed them. We were in New York.
Yeah, they were just there. You tell me. But listen, man, I'm going to be I'll send you a free shirt on behalf of us. Cause again, I work closely with Mike and stuff like that. And man, you got to go on his podcast too. He's got I don't know if you've seen it yet. He's starting up the Hardcore podcast, and he's got to have you on, man. Talk about all Italian stuff. But I want to say, Sal,
eagerly waiting my invite.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, we can't wait. I'm gonna help him plan and everything. But dude, this was an amazing time. I can't stress enough how thankful I'm to have you on. And let's see how.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
What a banger. What a great song.
And the keys that our souls were singing.
Oh my God. Sal, thanks so much, man. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you, brother. It's been great. Really great.
Thanks so
Thank
much.
you.
Hope to do this sometime again in the future.
I'm glad we got to do this too. Again, I was so I missed it today. I said, oh my God, I can't believe it. I'm glad we got to do this today. I really enjoyed our time.
Of course, man. Really. And before we go, one sec, if you don't mind, I'm gonna take a quick selfie with you. One sec.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm asking her to do. I'll go like this. There you go. Perfect. Thanks, Sal. Thanks, man.
You're the man. Adam, take care.
Okay, man.